Boxer who failed gender eligibility test at World Championships wins Olympic bout in 46 seconds after opponent quits. What's the big deal? I hear you ask. It's happened before, probably even less time, but there's a big difference. There's a bit of inequality going on here. Algeria's Imane Khelif won in just 46 seconds after the Italian Angela Carini quit in the round of 16 match in the 66k category. So what's the difference? Let's read on and we'll soon find out. And there you can see on the right hand side, a bit of a clue there, isn't there? The guy in the red top, oops, did I call him a guy? The lady in the blue top on the left, yes, she's a lady. The one on the right, I think it's quite obvious, isn't it? Let's look at his facial features. Yep, looks like a man to me. Definitely. So there we see in the picture, that's the first clue. Have I spilled the beans already? Or was that the balls? I mean the beans. A boxer who previously banned from competing in the World Championships because it says she, no, he failed testosterone and gender eligibility tests, has won, it says her again, his opening Olympic bout after, says her again, his opponent quit. Algeria's, you'd have thought with Algeria, come on, I mean, it is an Islamist country, isn't it, Algeria? You know, it's Islamic. I'm surprised that Imane Khelif has not been hung from a crane or thrown off a building yet in Algeria. Something else going on in Algeria, isn't there? Anyway, won in just 46 seconds after the Italian Angela Carini, yes, the real woman, the XX chromosome, quit in the 66k category. The pair had only a few exchanges before Carini abandoned the bout, an extremely unusual occurrence in Olympic boxing. Why is it an unusual occurrence? Okay, it's an unusual occurrence, not because someone was stopped in 46 seconds, but because of the way they were stopped and the fact that this is being allowed to happen. Carini's headgear apparently became dislodged twice before she quit. I wonder why that was. I wonder why. The Italian refused to shake Khelif's hand after the decision was announced, and she cried in the ring before leaving. So I'm surprised the Italian real woman, Carini, has not been demonised for not shaking the man's hand that punched her in the head twice. Yeah? In a boxing match at the Olympics, when it's supposed to be a women's fight for the women's gold, silver and bronze medals. And she cried in the ring. It seems to me this man smirking at this lady who is just punched twice in the head, which you wouldn't be allowed to do in the street or at home. It'd be classed as domestic violence. But it's okay at the Olympics, in the boxing ring, isn't it? It's amazing. Khelif was disqualified hours before her gold medal bout at the World Championships in New Delhi. So this Khelif is the same one that's allowed to fight in the Olympics. Okay? At the World Championships, disqualified or failed to meet the international boxing's eligibility criteria. Basically, he failed to be a woman because he's a man. Okay? Algeria's Olympic Committee, COA, previously condemned the baseless attacks on Khelif. Cognitive dissonance, deliberate, willful, gaslighting. These people will do anything to get a medal on the board. And they're allowed to do anything to get a medal on the board. COA strongly condemns the unethical targeting. Unethical targeting, but it's all right to go in the ring as a bloke and knock the crap out of a woman's head. and malignings of our an esteemed athlete, a domestic abuser, a woman hater. Imam Khalif with baseless propaganda, baseless, from certain foreign media outlets, it's said in a statement. I don't think it's baseless. He's got a penis and balls, and he's got XY chromosome. Okay? He shouldn't have a Y chromosome. He was in that ring fighting a woman in a women's contest. Such attacks on her personality and dignity. Such attacks on his personality and dignity are deeply fair. That's how it should read, not such attacks on her personality and dignity are deeply unfair. It's not a she, it's a he. Especially, again, as he prepares for the pinnacle of their words, his career at the Olympics. I mean, oh my word. It's beyond belief. The COA has taken all necessary measures to protect our champion. Mind you, saying that, you know, in these countries where this guy's come from, you're told you can beat up your women. So, what do you expect? Italy's family minister, Eugenia Rochello, said on Wednesday, it is surprising that there are no certain strict uniform criteria at the international level. Oh, there is strict uniform criteria. Italy's family minister, Eugenia Rochello. There is. It's called men can beat women up in the boxing ring. Okay? And let's face facts. Really, Italy as a country should have stood up and said no, shouldn't they? Or not even sent their athletes or avoided going in the ring as a protest. But no, you're part of the problem as well. And here we have the picture. Look, this girl's crying, right? She knows. And that there with his smirk on his face. Oh, don't worry about it. Can I punch you in the head this time without you wearing your headgear? Because it's pointless having it on, because it's just going to fly off anyway. Bang, 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 bang. Ooh, yeah. She added that it was strange that there can be a suspicion, and far more than a suspicion, of an unfair and potentially dangerous contest for one of the contenders at the Olympics, an event that symbolises sporting. No, it doesn't symbolise sport, in fairness. You've been gaslighted now, haven't you? Unbelievable. Meanwhile, Lin Yu-ting of Chinese Taipei, Taiwan, will take on Uzbekistan's Sitoria Tudebakova in the 57 kg on Friday. Double world champion Lin lost, says her, but it's a his. This fight hasn't taken place yet, by the way. Bronze medal at the World Championships after he failed to meet the organisers' criteria. How come the World Championships, right, can get it, even though they allowed them to fight? But there you go. Anyway, how come they can get it, okay, and the Olympics can't? International Olympic Committee spokesperson Mark Adams defended his decision to allow the women, no, their men, to compete earlier this week, saying, I would just say that everyone competing in the women's category, wait till you hear this, is complying with the competition eligibility rules, the standards, the rules. Well, if you manipulate the standards and the rules to fit the narrative, then they are going to comply, aren't they? If you made it the eligibility rules whereby a 20-stone fighter can fight a 8-stone fighter, but you've made the rules that that's okay, you could then also read in, well, everybody's complying with the competition eligibility rules. I think there's something wrong with the rules and the standards, isn't there? Yep, I think we are. And there he is. There's this woman hater, a domestic abuser of women, who wants to knock 7 bales of crap out of women as a man, and he's been allowed to do it. They are women in their passports, and it is stated that is the case. There it is, folks. As long as your passport says you're a woman, then that's okay. Okay. So that means the passport never lies. Okay? The passport never lies. And who issued the passport? I can understand it from, I mean, you in Canada now, you're not allowed as a parent or a counsellor to counsel anybody who said they would like to go through transgender counselling or surgery, and if you do, you go to prison and lose your kids. And I think it's coming into Scotland as well. But anyway, I digress. He added it would be invidious and unfair to discuss details of individual athletes. It's just absolutely horrendous. I mean, it's so obvious. It just puts me into shock. The IBA, which is not involved in the organisation of the Olympics, released a statement questioning why the women have been allowed to compete in Paris. They're men, okay? They are men, okay? They are not women. It added that the women, no, men had been banned from the World Championships in the interests of fairness and safety. Well, it's beyond belief, but there is a standard. We're talking about standards. And the further we move away from the ultimate standard, the absolute standard, and the reality that we observe, the further away we move away from that, the more absurd and insane and craziness enters the culture and everything, the environment that we live in. And once it gets a grip, it's like a disease. It will just rot away at everything. But we were given an ultimate standard, an absolute standard. And it's quite obvious in creation what the standard is. And that is male and female. Male, in the main, are physically stronger than females. They both have different attributes to contribute, okay? It's quite obvious. We know science in our modern day is demonstrating to us what a woman and a man is. If you don't know, if you can't look at a woman and a man, okay, in some instances it might be difficult. But there's one difficulty you can't argue with, okay? And I talk about difficulty because you can't see this, but it's in the DNA. Yeah, the DNA, Francis Crick discovered it. There was Wilkins, I think there was another two, New Zealander or Kiwi. Wilkins also discovered it. And when they discovered the DNA, it's the code of life. Animals, all biological living organisms, and even plants have DNA. Everything that's biological will have DNA. And in that DNA, to determine a male and a female, they're called chromosomes, okay? Now, you can't change these chromosomes. They are in your DNA. You can chop your penis off and your balls off, remove your breasts, okay? You can play about with, getting puberty blocker injections and things like this, and which will wreck your mind and, lead you toward all kinds of suicidal things. And you can abuse your body and you can add bits on here and add bits on there. But there's one thing you can't do, and that is change your chromosome, your DNA from what you were born with, okay? XX chromosome equals female. XY chromosome equals male. Only men have a Y chromosome, okay? That is what determines a male and a female. And guess what? This code was created. It's obviously, we need intelligence. If we've got a code, computer code, etc., etc., there's an intelligence behind it. Okay, information. Now here I have the word of God, the word of the true and living God in my hand. Now in here is, it's English, okay? It's written down text, okay, on every single page, or most of them anyway. Now, if I was to take this and remove all that ink off there, and it'd just be left with blank papers and the physical matter of this, okay, and get the ink and put it in next to it and put it on the scales and weigh it, okay, it will give me a weight. Now, if I also took this one with all of the, well, I nearly gave it away there, with the ink on the paper, with all the messaging, all the instructions, everything as it is, and weighed it, guess what, folks? It would weigh exactly the same, okay? So, the ink, not on the paper, just blank, everything there, and the ink sat on the scales with it, okay? There's weight, let's just say 1 kilogram. Now I take this one and I place it on, I don't remove the ink, 1 kilogram. Now what's the difference? What's the difference? The difference is there's been information added, okay? There's been a code there, there's a messenger, a sender, a receiver, someone's a translation. The language is the translation, okay? Could be German, could be English, could be Algerian, could even be Italian. Okay, that's the translation, okay? Now, we know it's taken an intelligence, okay, to write this code, to write this like a letter. Now, without all that information there, okay, then if it's just a part of matter and nothing else, it still weighs the same. But what's been added, I'll say it again, the information. We know information requires an intelligent mind. So matter is the medium for information in this case. The matter was what the intelligent originator used as the medium for the information they wished to be conveyed. And that's what we have, and that's in DNA. DNA, if we take the DNA, which is just sugars, etc. Now, if we just took them and weighed the DNA, and we didn't have it as a code, it was just all the natural matter that we weighed, and then we weighed the DNA in its organised, coded way, as Francis Crick discovered, then they would weigh the same. But the difference is, again, something's been added. The information takes an intelligence. So DNA required an intelligent input to use the matter of the sugars, etc., as a medium to give the instructions for all the molecular machines to go about their work and things like this. Okay, it's getting a bit deeper now. We can go there, but I'm not going to. So those chromosomes, XX, XY, are the information from the intelligent creator to tell us this is a bloke, this is a male. And within that bloke are certain attributes and physical necessities, and the same with the women, to function as it is meant to function. And so we read Genesis chapter 1, the intention of God in creating male and female. Then God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male, okay, male and female he created them. So God And God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and every living thing that moves on the earth. And God said, behold, I have given you every plant. It goes on and on. But the point is, God created male and female. He's the intelligent source behind the information that he applied to the matter to create the XX chromosome and the XY chromosome. And Jesus, although he's the creator, in the Gospel of Mark says the following. This is Jesus Christ, okay? Says the following. And Jesus said to them, this is Jesus Christ speaking, but from the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let not man separate. Let not man separate. So there we have it. Man is trying to introduce his own standards and fight and kick back against the ordained natural order, the ordained natural creation, the obvious creation. In the book of Romans we read that it's obvious. I'll read it to you. Romans, book of Romans chapter 1, and this is what man is doing. 18 onwards. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who by their unrighteousness suppress the truth. And this is what they're doing. They're suppressing the truth. For what can be known about God is plain to them, because God has shown it to them. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world in the things that have been made, so they are without excuse. For although they knew God, they did not honour him as God or give thanks to him, but they became futile in their thinking, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Claiming to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of God, of glory of the immortal God, for images resembling mortal man and birds and animals and creeping things. Therefore God gave them up in the lust of their hearts to impurity, to the dishonouring of their bodies among themselves, because they exchanged the truth about God for a lie, and worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. Now, it's clear there. Man is without excuse, suppresses the knowledge of God. So what's the ultimate knowledge of God? The ultimate knowledge of God is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but through me. No man comes to the Father but through me. And how do we get right with God? And why do we need to get right with God? We're all separated from God. We've all sinned and fallen short of the standard of God. Talking about standards before. Man's creating his own standards, but there's an ultimate standard. God's standard for male and female. God's standard for getting right with God. Jesus Christ is the ultimate standard for getting right with God. In the garden, Adam and Eve, first human couple. Read it there, Adam and Eve. First human couple, God gave them a commandment, they disobeyed. They recognised they were naked, they tried to make fig leaves to cover themselves. But God said to them, have you eaten from the tree of the fruit of knowledge and good and evil, etc.? And then they claimed that they were deceived by the serpent, which the serpent did deceive them. And so God recognised they tried to cover their own sin, and he pronounced the death penalty, the curse of God the sentence upon creation. Adam was the federal head. The head should be. He had the authority. He had the responsibility to make sure for the rest of humanity that he would be the federal head he needed to be. Someone to look up to, but he failed. And so God pronounced the death sentence, curse on all of creation. This is where death came in. And he recognised they tried to get right with God and cover their own guilt with their own works by making fig leaves. So God sacrificed an animal. The blood, the life is in the blood. And God is a righteous God. His standards are higher than our standards. So he killed the animal to make a covering for their guilt. This was a temporary covering, and it was pointing towards when Jesus Christ would come 2,000 years later. The perfect sacrifice. Adam and Eve, human. God, in Jesus Christ, became a human, took on human flesh. The perfect sacrifice. To obey the laws of God, and he obeyed them fully. Didn't break any of the commandments. And he came and demonstrated who he is by what he did, by what he said. And he was placed on a piece of wood. And his blood was shed for those that he came to save, for his people, all those that will believe on him and his works, to remove their death sentence, and took it upon himself. He took upon himself the guilt for his people, for those that will believe in him, on that piece of wood. And he was crucified, pierced with a spear, died on that piece of wood, placed in a tomb, in the grave for 3 days. And as he said in his earthly ministry, destroy this temple and in 3 days I will raise it again. That is what happened. He conquered the death sentence that was placed on humanity for his people. He came and rescued them by becoming cursed on a tree for them, by standing, taking their place and their punishment. And he rose from the dead. He appeared to 500 people at one time, and different people at the time. And we've got the Gospels, we've got it all written in here, the recorded events. And so he said he's not only coming the first time, he's coming the second time for those who are eagerly waiting for him. And we're told that if you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that God raised Jesus Christ from the dead, you'll be saved. Saved from what? The wrath of God and the death sentence. Everybody will rise from the dead in the future at some time. Everybody. And be judged according to their works. Now, when I say according to their works, those who believe in Jesus Christ will not be judged according to their works. They will be judged according to the works of God, because God's work in the crucifixion and the work of Jesus Christ has forgiven them. They are no longer guilty. God looks upon them like he would look upon Jesus Christ. But those who are trying to get right with God by their own works, like Adam and Eve did, sewing the fig leaves together, they will be judged by their own works. And Jesus Christ said there's no one good, so none of their good works are good enough to get right with God. None of them, not one. So they will be condemned according to the works that they've done. They've all fallen short of the standard of God. I'll say it again. All have sinned. All have broken God's laws and commandments. Not one has not broken them, apart from Jesus Christ. All have broken those, and we all stand under the curse for them. We're all under the death sentence for them. But God showing mercy in Jesus Christ for all them that will believe in him. Do you believe in it? Do you believe in his works, or do you think that you can get right with by your own works? Well, you can't. There's coming a day of judgment. God's wrath, but he's showing mercy. He's showing mercy by becoming like his brothers for whom he came to die for. We have to repent and believe and turn to him. Confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord. Believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead. Amen.